Hi, my name's Leonie. This Yin Yoga practice is designed to relieve anger and frustration that sometimes builds at times of stress. You'll need a blanket for the practice. And then just find a quiet space and sit quietly to connect with your breath and connect your body and breath together. And then we make our way onto our stomach and just bring your elbows under the shoulders. Take your legs at a comfortable distance apart as we move into our Sphinx posture. Really let your pelvis and legs be heavy. And you feel the front of the body softening and opening. And the tension slowly starts to fade. Much of the time we don't like anger and frustration. We may not particularly like what it evokes in us and our behaviors. There's times like this that we have an opportunity to examine what we bring to these interactions. And we can start just by simply observing the physical sensations that arise at times of anger. So you may feel that your stomach tightens, the jaw clenches. You might feel a little sweaty or clammy. All of us will feel something a little different. So we can deepen this yin pose and bring it a little bit stronger into the spine by moving into seal pose and just straightening the arms. If it feels quite strong for you in your spine, you can walk your hands a little further forward so that you're somewhere in between the Sphinx on the elbows and the seal on the hands. And if it's comfortable in your neck, you might like to just tip your head back slightly so that the front of the throat opens, and that can be a really nice way of opening up that throat chakra, that area of our communication, which sometimes feels quite stifled, and particularly when we're angry, we might feel quite inarticulate. So let's lower ourselves down and take a little rest. And as we come out of our poses, it's a time to tune inwards and tune into those energetic movements that are occurring inside. So as you move into the frog pose, make sure you have a little bit of padding under your knees. That does help reduce any pain that you might feel in the knees. You may find your frog pose with your feet apart, or if you're like me, maybe with your heels a little bit closer together, or even the toes closer together at the back and the bottom closer to the heels. So choose a shape that suits your bone structure. And we're opening the inside of the thighs with this pose. So it's a matter of just adjusting yourself in each yin pose to find your particular shape and what works for you best. None of us are the same, and so the shapes that we make in our yin yoga practice need to honor our particular shape, our bone structure. and our physiology. And as you sit with these poses, you may like to focus on your breath and feeling the fullness of the breath as it travels through the body. And initially, you may just feel that in the chest or in the abdomen. But with time, with an inward focus, you may begin to feel the breath very subtly move in other parts of the body. But for now, just focus where you most feel the breath. And let that breath be smooth and slow. One of the ways to reduce frustration is to work with our breath, to slow it right down. And I like to use a count of inhaling for 4 and exhaling for a count of 5. So just slightly extending my out breath. This is very calming for the parasympathetic nervous system. So we just take a little rest here in child's pose, rounding the spine and drawing inwards, containing that energy. So we move now into our sleeping swan pose by sliding the right knee forward. If we feel any knee pain, we bring the foot closer to the groin. To extend this and deepen the stretch in the right gluteal area in this posture, we can move our front foot a little closer to the top of the mat, and that will usually deepen into that area. So again, depending on your shape, you may wish to deepen, or you might like to work with your foot closer to the groin. So we can add in a little upper body twist. And for some of you, you may experience a deepening into the gluteal area. You might feel an opening in between the shoulder blades, in the back of the heart and the lungs, and a little twist in your spine. And just keep that breath slow and smooth. Breathing in for a count of 4 and breathing out for a count of 5. Letting your muscles relax. And let the breath just carry away the tension. And like all things in life, our anger and frustration is temporary, it's transient, they're never changing. None of us are 100% angry all the time. So you might like to stretch back into down face dog or take a child's pose as we did earlier. And then we transition to the other side and bring your left knee up towards the front of your mat. And again, Just settle into the pose, adjusting your shape to find that opening into the left gluteal region. So letting yourself soften. And you might notice after a minute or so that your body begins to melt a little. There's a softening and a changing. Adding in the twist in the upper body if this brings you benefit. And as we sit with our practice, it's time also for observation of our inward physical sensations. And perhaps you feel a little tingling. There may be times when you feel slight temperature changes in your body, or a sense of weightlessness, lightness. At times I feel something that is akin to clarity when I practice. And it's very difficult to describe some of our physical sensations. But it is our own experience, so we are present with that experience. So as we move out of our sleeping swan, just move any knee padding to the side and bring your feet out and lay yourself down and just taking a break here, resting the body. And as you lie down, see if you're able to resist that urge to move, to bring your knees to the chest or take little twists. But just be instead with the immediacy of this experience, of those sensations that are traveling through your body at this present time. And letting yourself go. You may like to stay in Shavasana a little bit longer, or if your time is short today, start to wake your body up, stretching your fingers and toes, stretching out the legs, and just rolling to one side and taking a few breaths on the side just to make this transition between a yin state back into our very yang realities. And bring yourself up to a seated meditative position and just connect back with your breath. Thank you for joining me in practice, and check out the other 4 videos in this series and leave your comments and your feedback below. Most welcome. Thank you again.